Welcome to our section 3. Kudos for coming this far. And our section talks about effective communication in debt collection. Someone said that everyone can extend or anyone can give credit, but not everyone can do collection. Collection requires a special skill. And this is the skill of communication. You have to be a good communicator for you to be successful in collection. And that is why when you're talking about negotiation, it's all about communication. So what are the areas that you'll be covering when you interact with this section 3? You'll be looking at what we call active listening and empathy. You'll be looking at persuasive communication techniques. We'll also be looking at handling difficult conversations with your customers, and what we also talk about documenting agreements. And I keep on saying negotiation is a must-have skill for everyone who wants to thrive in debt collection. For you to be successful, you must embrace the art of negotiating, because when customers are not paying you, of course, that is something that needs to be worked out, and it requires a specialized skill of negotiating. So let us talk about effective communication in debt collection. We look at what you're calling active listening, and also touch on the other areas that we are going to talk about in that. And why communication in debt collection? I think we've just said that debt collection is not just about facts and figures. It's not just amounts. It is about conversations. And when we talk about having good conversation, we are looking at conversations that will lead or that will result to payment. And those conversations will lead to more cooperating debtors. Debtors will cooperate with you. We also look at you will be able to resolve issues faster, without delay. And then also we will be able to achieve what we call improved payment compliance, because you're communicating with the customers. They know what is expected of them. They know what you require from them. And of course, it also lowers the risk of escalation or complaints or disputes that may hinder timely payments. Therefore, we can say that communication matters in debt collection. And when we talk about communication, we normally say that communication is a two-way traffic, right? So and communication is not just about talking, it's also about listening. And this is where we bring in as well the act of active listening. So for you to be successful, you must also be an active listener. That is, when I talk about active listening, I'm talking about fully focusing on what the data is saying, because it is in what the data says that determines whether you'll be paid on time or you will not be paid on time. So it's not just waiting, to give a response. Many people think that I'm giving them a chance to talk and I'm ready with a response. No, that is not active listening. Active listening is about speaking, and it's about actively getting involved also in the process of listening. And when we talk about active listening, we are talking about giving full attention. Giving, like you give the eye contact, your mind is there, and you're listening to that particular person, whether on the phone or face to face. You must actively listen to them. So you must also make sure that there are no interruptions during that conversation or during that time when you are communicating with the customer. Ensure that there is no interruption. Maybe on the phone, you can even keep it silent, so that, or you can divert it to somebody else to assist as you're having that communication with that person who owes you money. And of course, it is also it is also about paraphrasing and summarizing. What do I mean? Is this what you mean? Like when you're listening to the customer, maybe they've said something that you need to affirm. So you could ask them, so you've said that you'll be paying this much on this date. Am I right? So you want to affirm what the customer has said, asking clarifying questions, asking them questions in that conversation. Keep them, and this is what I usually say. A debt collector or a person who is doing collection is like a criminal investigation officer. You are asking questions, not questions that require a yes, no answer, but questions that will require the customer to give you more information. We normally say that ensure that you are not asking open-ended questions. Make sure that you are asking questions that require a discussion and further information. And of course, when you talk about active listening, we're also saying you need to notice the tone of the customer. When they pause, you understand. And when even the emotions changes, you should be able to understand. When someone becomes emotional in conversation, what do I need to do? Take a break, listen, ask them, what is the issue? Because sometimes we say sometimes debts are burdens, and not sometimes. A debt is a burden. And some people, are so burdened by debts that they get so emotional even during the time of the conversation. For example, if a debtor says, I've lost my job, I don't have enough money for rent, I've not even had a meal, I've not even eaten, you should not respond that is not our problem, you still owe us money. No. But as an active listener, you could maybe put it, I understand this is a difficult time. Let's talk through options that can work for you. And, for you and us. This is where when you're negotiating, actually, you're forming a formidable team. And this is why we say this is a win-win team. So this is not a team where you win, they lose. So if you find a customer has said that they have had that challenge, they've not, tell them that you understand it is a difficult time for them. The situation is difficult, but there is something that both parties can achieve during this conversation. Then how do I benefit? How will I benefit, me as a person now handling this client? I think benefits of active listening are so many, right? And some of them that we can bring about is that when you actively listen, you're able to build to build trust and a rapport. The customer will be able to communicate more, give more information to you, and that information is vital because it is that information that will tell you whether you'll ever be paid or not paid. Then also, it prevents misunderstandings. Yes, when you actively listen, you will be preventing misunderstanding between you and the client. And also, it will help you to, to respond more effectively without being vague, because already customer has given you information, you've listened, so you are responding to them in the right way. And also, that way, you'll be able to be successful in your debt collection. And we also say that in negotiation on communication, we also need to involve what we call empathy. And many times people confuse empathy with sympathy. But when we talk about empathy, this is what we call the ability to understand and acknowledge a debtor's feelings without condoning default. Like you're putting yourself in their shoe. You're putting yourself in their shoe. If it were me on the other side of the conversation, how would I want it handled? So empathy is not weakness. Empathy, we say it's a strategic emotional intelligence. And it allows you to humanize the communication or the conversation. It shows that you are understanding without waiving the debt. Makes repayment options feel reasonable and fair to the debtor. And we have also said prevent escalation by calming the debtor. So we've said a person who owes is someone who is, they're feeling emotionally drained, emotionally down. But when you now communicate with them in the right way, you may get better results. During negotiation or communication, do's of empathy, you must use the debtor's name, address them by their names, acknowledge their difficulty. We know you are difficulty. We understand you've lost your job. Maybe your business is not faring on well. We understand, but you and I can come up with a solution. Offer support, not pity. Do not start crying. There are people who start shedding tears. They cry. They cannot handle the customer. And every time, maybe even to report, oh, I feel for that client. I can't handle them. If I was their shoe, can we do something about them? No, do not pity them. Yeah, we have talked about empathy, and we've said that empathy is about understanding and acknowledging a debtor's feelings without condoning default. Yeah, they are on the wrong. We need money from them, but what do I do? And of course, we've also said it's important to use calming language, we talked about asking open-ended questions, not closed-ended questions with a yes or a no. So open-ended questions, those that that we require the customer to explain more. The don'ts of empathy, what we do not accuse or label, accusing or labeling the customer, ignoring emotional cues of the customer, dismissing their concerns, raising your voice or pressure, using rigid scripts only. No, please, those are things that you should not do when you are empathizing with the customer. So how do I communicate with the customer? I think we can say use calm and neutral tone, even when met with hostility. We've said being in debt is a position that puts someone in a point where they are on the defensive and they can be hostile. I'm not talking like a person. I have dealt with debt collection for many years, and many times customers become even hostile. They can even, harm you. So it is for you as a debt collector to ensure that in your communication, you are calm, you are also neutral. And then also, we also say you must mirror key phrases, like, oh, this is what you mean. This is what you are saying. Oh, okay. You are firm with their conversation. Ask guiding questions. What should help? How or what would help you get back to track? What do we need to do on our side that will enable you now start repaying the debts? And we have also said you must stay professional by all means. Do not take insults personally. By the way, and this is something I always remind people when I'm doing training, is that the debt is not about you. If the customer is unhappy, is shouting, it's not about, they're not shouting because of you. You've done them nothing wrong. And that is the position of someone who owes money. And then we have also said that you must always pause before responding. Take a pause before responding. Do not, have the answers on your tongue, like you are just ready to answer back the client. And that will have introduced you to debt collection. Stay on so that you can learn more on persuasive communication techniques, handling difficult conversation, and what you need to do in order to document agreements with your customers. Thank you for the far you have come. So take home for this lesson, active listening, important because it builds trust and opens dialogue with customers whom you could not previously communicate with. We have also seen that empathy improves cooperation.